From 9 News, this is your news today.
Good morning and welcome. Coming up this Wednesday morning, crowds already lining the Sydney Harbour foreshore as Aussies prepare to ring in the new year. Plus, commuter chaos, thousands stranded as a power failure brings the Eurostar to a standstill, and a scaly hitchhiker, the snake that hopped on a ride and joined an Aussie family's summer road trip.
We begin with New Year's Eve celebrations, with Aussies preparing to ring in the new year across the country with fireworks and festivities. In Sydney, there will also be a moment of silence to honour the lives lost in the Bondi terror attack. Let's go live now to Today Sydney reporter Jack Hahn. Jack, it's going to be a rather different celebration than usual.
Yeah, certainly will be, Nick. Good morning to you. New Year's Eve will be a little different here in Sydney. First and foremost, there'll be a heavy police presence with 2,500 officers on patrol, including some with machine guns. And then there will also be a number of moments where we'll be able to pay our respect to the lives lost in the Bondi terror attack at 11 o'clock. There will be a moment of silence. There will be a menorah on the side of the Harbour Bridge, and people at home and in the crowd are encouraged to shine the torch on their phone to kind of gather in this moment of grief and also to pay their respects this evening.
And Jack, despite that heavy police presence, we're still expecting about 1.1 million people harbourside for the show this evening.
And 2,000 of them are already here, Nick. A little look down here. You remember about half an hour ago, I ran up there. That was 600 metres. Trust me. And it still goes. How about we just continue the running here this morning? So we've got everyone. Oh, sorry, apologies. Whoops. As you can see here, we've got scores of people. A big wave, yes, hello to everyone. Some people playing cards, some people on their chairs, and it all continues down here. This is crazy, Nick and Ali. Take a look down here. It just keeps going and going and going. I was talking to the security guards, and they tell me that this turnout is actually bigger than what they had last year. So there was a bit of a concern that there would be fears people wouldn't come out. Well, if you take a live look here, just look at all these people. This is crazy. I know I'm going over time, but forgive me, because you can just see the line goes all the way down there. So well and truly over a kilometre here. We're expecting this line to continue to grow. Certainly very powerful to think that everyone's coming out here despite the fears, and that's exactly what the government wanted here. They wanted us to not let terror and fear win, and it looks like that's certainly the case here.
And Jack Hahn running backwards down a hill during a live cross. What can this man not do?
What could go wrong?
Thank you, Jack. Well, an elderly man has died in northwest Queensland after his car became trapped in floodwaters at Normanton. The fatality comes as the state outback faces record rainfall for the fourth day in a row, with landslides, widespread flooding and more than 30 roads cut off yesterday afternoon, leaving towns isolated. Today is expected to see an easing of the rainfall, but the Weather Bureau warns rainfall totals could reach up to 220 millimetres in Townsville and 100 mils in the state's west over the next 24 hours. Queensland Premier David Crisafulli has announced disaster relief for the affected areas.
We have two main concerns, and that is roads and the impact on agriculture. That there could be some significant stock loss. We stand ready to be able to provide fodder if that is required.
In the tropical north, South Mission Beach has now recorded 850 millimetres of rain, which is expected to exceed 1 metre. CCTV of the alleged Bondi gunman in the Philippines is being reviewed by the Australian Federal Police. Commissioner Chrissy Barrett confirming the pair travelled to the Philippines and stayed in Davao City from November 1 before arriving back in Australia on November 29.
These individuals are alleged to have acted alone. There is no evidence to suggest these alleged offenders were part of a broader terrorist cell. I want to be clear, I am not suggesting that they were there for tourism.
An initial assessment from the Philippine National Police saying the pair rarely left their hotel, with no evidence to suggest they received training.
Pauline Hanson has seen an upsurge in her likeability amongst voters. New polling by 9 newspapers has revealed the One Nation leader will go into 2026 more liked than at almost any time in her political career, up 16 points compared to last year. Her newest MP, Barnaby Joyce, also saw a boost with an 18-point jump, but still remains one of 2 MPs with a negative likeability rating. Thousands of travellers across Europe have had their New Year's Eve plans thrown into limbo after a fault forced Eurostar train services to a halt. Live to 9 Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair in London. Good morning, Hannah. How bad are the delays?
Good morning, Ali. Well, the delays have been going on all day here, and for some people it's meant waiting more than 6 hours to get on their way here at London's St Pancras station. Travellers are now waiting to get on some Eurostar services, which have now resumed after a power failure in the Channel Tunnel caused travel chaos. All Eurostar services to and from London were suspended. A shuttle train service was also impacted, transporting drivers and their vehicles between the UK and France. And while some services have resumed, Eurostar is urging people to rebook their journeys. Not a great end to 2025 for these travellers. Ali?
A bumpy ride into the new year. Hannah Sinclair, thank you. A North Melbourne Cricket Club will enforce mandatory neck protection for junior players following the death of a teenager in October. Ben Austin was just 17 when he was killed during a training session. His tragic passing prompting the Lorimer Cricket Club to introduce the new rule, which will come into place from the 1st of February.
Donald Trump's pressure campaign against Venezuela has taken another sharp turn, with Washington confirming new sanctions and US strikes both at sea and on the ground. Live to 9 US correspondent Reid Butler. Reid, this must be raising concerns of a wider conflict.
Absolutely, Nick, and there's been no official response yet from the Venezuelan government about this new escalation, but it does mark the beginning of an aggressive new phase. So we've learned this morning that it was the CIA which carried out strikes on a Venezuelan port facility, and that attack on a Venezuelan drug smuggling boat in the Pacific. It's the 30th time a vessel has been targeted by the Americans since all of this began. All eyes now on Venezuela's autocratic President Nicolas Maduro. Donald Trump wants him out of office, but so far he's not bowing to those demands.
Troubling escalation there. Thank you, Reid Butler. Well, it's the scheme that turns cans into cash, and now Queenslanders could soon receive even more money. Under a new push, those who recycle would receive 20 cents for each container, doubling that refund from 10 cents. The recommendation has come from a parliamentary inquiry into the container deposit scheme, which has never hit its 85% recycling rate target.
Returning to overseas news, and 3 people are dead after an avalanche in Spain. The group of 6 were ski trekking in the Pyrenees on the border of France when the snow collapse occurred. Rescue teams, including sniffer dogs, were deployed to search for those still missing. Volodymyr Zelensky has denied Ukraine ordered a drone attack on the home of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russia's foreign minister claims Kyiv launched the attack using 91 long-range aerial vehicles in the country's northwest, and say it would now review its position in peace negotiations.
A coastal carpet python has hitched a ride over 1,000 kilometres across the Queensland-New South Wales border, tagging along on a Christmas holiday. Holidaymakers found the thrill-seeking serpent coiled in the crevice of their car after travelling from Toowoomba to the Central Coast.
We'll see what we can do to try and get him out, but bloody hell, he's been one hell of an adventure, eh? Yeah. I have never seen this before. We've seen many snakes in cars, but never one that has travelled that far from another state.
I just wanted a holiday. The snake was safely relocated back to Queensland and released into a national park. An American teenager has snapped up a Guinness World Record after building the world's tallest sculpture made entirely of toothpicks. Eric Clable spent months crafting a 5-metre tall replica of the Eiffel Tower, piecing together over 20,000 toothpicks with nothing but patience and a whole lot of glue. That'll get the ladies coming. Despite the best of intentions, Aussies won't be sticking to their New Year's resolutions in 2026. That's according to research from MyFitnessPal, with 1 in 5 set to give up in just the first week. Weight loss remains the most common goal, with 57% planning to lose weight, while over half of Australians admit they repeat the same resolutions every year, just like I do. I'll get fitter, I'll get better.
You don't need to, Mia.
Oh, thank you,
You're
Ali.
perfect
Maybe
just
that
as
guy
you are.
does, you know, the toothpick man. He'll get a girlfriend this year.
After what she said about him, I'm going to build an even bigger tower than the Eiffel Tower.
Can't get much bigger than his.
All right, let's take a look at the weather across the country. Showers for the last day of 2025 in Canberra, Cairns and Darwin, with some afternoon rain forecast for Sydney.
There's cloud cover for Melbourne and Hobart, while Brisbane and Perth will enjoy a sunny day as we get ready to welcome in the new year.